Hello and welcome to episode number 20. Believe that, 2020. With me, your host and instructor, Bill Grigg, right here on Simple Groundwork and Diorama Techniques. We are into the Model Builders series. And as usual, guess who's behind my camera? Guess who's filming me? It's Clam Bake Dave. Yes, sir, it's Cape Cod Clam Bake Dave. And he's still got on the ghillie suit and the clamshell helmet there because of renegade seagulls attacking his last clam bake. Should have got out those AAA there. You should have shot out some AAA, you know.
That's right.
Honest to God, they stole his piece of corn out of the clam bake pit there. So listen, Dave. Now that we're into this model build, Clam Bake Dave, he came up with a good question for me, and I should address it. Now, folks, listen. We are doing, like I said, we're doing a lot of interior painting, which, as I said, once this piece goes together, will be all closed up, and you can't tell me you're going to be able to see through these little windows into there and see all that detail. So why am I doing all this internal detail painting? Now, as I said before, I compete in contests. What I would not want to have happen to me at a contest is someone come up. Now, this is not encouraged in contests, but people do it. I wouldn't want someone to come up here with a flashlight, like a little, those high intensity flashlights that they have nowadays, and shine them in these side windows or shine it in this open bay, and people say, "Oh, he's got no detail on his interior. He hasn't done his, he hasn't highlighted," and there's no way you can see it unless you're shining a light in there. But for the contest realm, I need to do this. Now, you as an average model maker doing something pleasing for your own personal preference, your own personal thing, you don't need to go to all this extra work. But there's always a but, isn't there? This is a good place if you are not going to compete in contests and stuff. This is a good place to go in and do some of your dry brushing and your detail work, because if you screw it up, you take it, and guess what? Bye-bye, it goes away. So it's a good place. You can't today, folks, with the cost of kits, because kits are getting really, really expensive. You can't go like the old days and run down to your local five and dime and pick up a kit for $3 and come home and, have the whole entire family running away in white-knuckled terror, building a bunker out in the backyard because of the horrific piece that you've gotten. You can't do that nowadays. Kits are $70, $80. I just had a person come in and the kit MSRP's for $117. I had a person that got a Wasp USS Wasp in 350th scale. It was $350, guys. You can't take a $350 kit and come home and try techniques on it. You got to have your tried and true be putting on this. So it's a good place to go inside and practice some of these things where you don't get a chance to normally practice on things. Model building is a series of mistakes and good things that happen, and you start to develop your own techniques, and you will start to see that, hey, I'm building a much better pleasing looking model. I'm having a lot more satisfaction in this. We all want to have our models. I know the majority of people want to have their models come out the best they can. People are very proud of what they build. So that is why I'm going in and doing all this interior work. So when we get down, we start getting into these things that are very detailed. You now have a grasp because you have the basics. It's like teaching martial arts. I can show you two-handed lapel grab where I just crack you in the solar plex, but then I can go in where I weave my hands through and push you off and crack you in the nose, and then I grab you by your ears and spin you around. And but if you do not have the basics, you are not going to be able to do your advanced stuff, so that's why we're here doing basics, okay? So let us continue on with our basics. I'm going to put this down, keep it nice and flat. And in the meantime, you could have washed the other side of your interior, but I would say probably don't do that. Oh, something else, guys. Here's something else. I just painted this interior in episode 19. Now, Obviously, we shoot 2 shows in one day. We are a one-camera shoot. We shoot 2 shows in one day. Just because this paint, you see what I did? Because I'm getting nervous about talking about this. Just because I can take this paint, watch what I can do. I just painted this last episode. We've only taken maybe, what, a 20-minute break. Nothing, right? Just because this paint is dry to the touch does not mean the paint has cured. And what do we mean by paint curing is we mean that exactly what it sounds like. The paint has dried completely dry. It's not dry to the touch. It's completely dry and kind of gotten hard. This is what allows me now to take my solvents and put this on top of this. Now, if this paint was dry to the touch and only 20 minutes into it, I might take my solvent washes, put this on top, and because it is not cured, as I start to apply my wash, I regenerate my base paint, I get burned through, and there's some gray plastic. This is what you want to avoid when you do these things. So, like I said, just because a paint is dry to the touch does not necessarily mean a paint has cured. This is true in all paint. This is house paint. This is all paint, guys. So, you know, even though you're out painting your house, you want to lean against it, and the next thing you know, oh, you got paint all over yourself. Geez, I wonder why. It was dry. No, it's not. It's not cured. It's not cured. So, let's continue on, and let's keep going with some of this, with some of the detail stuff. Now, I noticed this piece here has dried pretty good. So let's go in, and I'll show you how to start to enhance this. I can't go into these other side pieces because they're not really dry. But you can see how I'm jumping all over the place rather than following. I'll be back. Rather than following step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. You can't do that. That's not the way you build. It's just not the way you do it. Okay, so let's get this, getting all messed up here. Let's get this and do this. Now, I have started with an interior green. Now there's a couple things I can do. Because I've dumped a darker color on this, which was my, I don't want to say, I always say, because I've dumped my raw umber on this, I've taken my base shade of interior green, dumped some raw umber on top of it in a wash. I've brought that base color down 1 step because of the wash. So we can put it back in with our regular interior green, which I will do. Get a little bit out because all I need is a dry brush color. Put it out in the palette. Again, I made a mess. So some PBM. Close this up. And get, again, an appropriate dry brush. I think this right here would work. Now let's show them this brush tip too, Dave, because this is a mess. You tell me when you got that, Dave. Okay. You can see it. This tip is kind of a mess, but it might work really good for the dry brush application. So again, we go over to our palette. We pick up a little bit. Come over to our dry brush paper, which I need to flip over and get a good spot here. And remember, we always work on the one spot when we dry brush out. And you can see what I'm looking for, that little wisp of paint. Then we come back over to our piece, and we just start to lightly feather this stuff back in. Now I'm having a little trouble seeing this because we've realized through trial and error that if I turn on my high intensity lamp so I can truly see what I'm doing to paint, it turns everything blue. We're standing here looking like we're out in an Arctic blizzard. And again, I just keep loading the brush, pulling the paint out of it, and going on to my piece. Now all I'm doing here is kind of reestablishing my base coat, but not in the extremes, because obviously in my recesses around all my raised detail, I don't want to eliminate that shadow effect that the wash accomplished. I don't want to do that. I just want to reestablish this base paint a little bit. So in other words, I'm hitting these high point lines and a little bit in the center of each panel, but not, oh, excuse me, I'm having terrible indigestion here, but not so I eliminate my shadow effect against my raised line. So just reestablish your base color just a little bit. And then, you know me, I like to add some yellow into my stuff, but today, let's go a little different today and show you another way to do this without adding a color to your base. So, I knew what I wanted anyhow. This color is called Faded Drab. And I think I'm going to add, I thought not so much add, is I think I'm going to dry brush this on straight out and see what I got. If I don't like it, I can take and dump some yellow or some of this zinc chromate yellow into my interior green to get a highlight color. But let's try it with this faded drab first off. As a matter of fact, I always paint my bottle tops, so we can take the two bottle tops. Dave, let's get a close-up of this. And we'll show the actual contrast between these two colors. You can see it's fairly drastic. And it's really not living within the color spectrum of this. It's totally different. It's almost into a brown. So it might work as a highlight. I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, then we'll go back and we'll do the different. But this is just another approach, so you don't have to constantly mix your paint. And let's try it, see what happens. Now, how do I know what colors to choose? I don't even know how to explain that to you guys. I really don't know how to explain that to you. Because I always am telling you, you know, stay within the family of colors. So if we're in these greens, stay within these greens. Well, I'm staying within the green realm of that color, but I've really ventured kind of hardcore into the brown. And it may not be what I'm looking for. But I want to show you an example of how you don't always have to add a color to a color to get a highlight color. You don't always have to do that. Again, I'm not even going to clean my brush. I've still got the interior green on my dry brush. I'm picking up some of the faded drab. I'm going to try to find another clean spot in the piece of paper. Dry brush this out, as usual. You should have dry brushing down now if you're following along with me in this Model Builders series. If you're following along with me, you should have dry brushing you should be, fairly accomplished in that technique now. But again, we've taken the faded drab, and I'm just curious as to see what this is going to do over here. And actually, hey, that's not too bad. That's really not too bad at all, but geez, that would be great on an exterior piece. So let's do this. I'm not real happy with that, so let's do this. Take out that yellow zinc. Get my stirrer for it. Push my paint cap back in. Whoa. This paint's gone bad, Dave. Woohoo! Wait until you see this come out of here.
Oh.
Yo!
Not good, not good.
Yo, I think we should be seeing Steve McQueen chasing the blob here in a second, you know what? But that's all right. We're going to use it. I'm going to use it. Wow, look at that, Dave. It's like using an oil. Yep, I think we're going to have to give this the deep 6. But we can use it for an enhancement color. That must have gotten contaminated or something. Okay, let me get this out of the road. All right, now I need a little thinner because I'm going to play with this hardcore. Now this is a good example, folks, of just being in here and just messing with all kinds of stuff. Now, when I go in to the thinner on this brush, let's use my top of my hand as the top of the thinner in this bottle, okay? So let's use the top of my hand for this. When I go in and put the brush into this bottle, this is what I'm going to do. This is thinner. My hand is thinner. I'm just going to go in and touch the tip. I'm not going to go here. I'm just going to touch the tip. I just want to just get a little tiny bit of thinner. And obviously you can't see inside the bottle here. That's what I'm looking for. Come over here. Come to where my green was. Oh, whoa, there's way too much thinner. Way too much thinner. See the paint on the brush? Grab the thinner. But you can see what I did. I just touched it to my cloth and cut it down a little bit. Now, I want to grab a little of that interior green and go on to where I was dry brushing my interior green. There we go. See that regenerate? Grab a little of the zinc because it's so thick. And put that in. You can see how that's coming way too light. So this is where we're going to take this again. Take the paint right off the brush. Notice I'm not cleaning it, and we're going to grab a little of that faded drab that I have out. We're going to drop that right into a corner as well. And that is a very good highlight color. Now this is a great teaching example right here, students. This is an excellent teaching example. Here is my base color. Here's my enhanced color with a little bit of this yellow zinc in it. And then this is my final color with my base color, a little yellow zinc, and a little bit of that faded drab, because that was the color I was going for first off. That's the reason that I used the one bottle color instead of taking this zinc and putting the zinc into my base. Okay? Did you follow that? Did you follow that? That's not confusing? Okay. Because I know sometimes I can start to talk about color and I get that dog head, you know, what are you talking about? But I've kind of studied color, you know, I've kind of really studied color. Okay, back over to our piece. And oh my goodness, yes. Now, watch these lines grow as I do this. You'll see them pop instantly. They will instantly pop from the piece. And like I say, this is probably not going to be seen, although this is the rear bulkhead that's going to be next, that's going to be in back of that open cargo door. So you're most likely going to be able to see this. So you do want to get this piece here fairly highlighted. And I'm even going to go even a little bit more extreme on this. Oh, I like this a lot. That's a good color choice there, if I do say so myself. And I am. Okay, now let's just get a little accent to that, just a little accent to that. And again, let's get these out of the way so you can see it. Grab a little of that zinc. And you can see I've just got just a tiny bit of zinc in the head of that brush. Got it? Okay, back over now to where I was dry brushing out the drab, the faded drab and the zinc. And get on that so I can see the contrast in there as well.
Did you move those bottles out of the way?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You know what? And let's get this up on this so we can actually see it sideways, so people can actually watch me do this. See the four colors in there now? So I know what the contrast is between what I just applied to my piece and what my highlight color is. And again, now with us highlight color, I'm going in with a really dry brush, really dry, and I'm just going to hit these raised lines. And again, we got a good camera, so I know this is filming. See the contrast between there and there? It's obvious, right? We'll take this side. Let's grow the detail on this side as well. Oh, look at that. Look at that. See those three lines? Those three lines weren't even existent before. Nice, 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 nice. Boy, is that nice. And that truly is, folks, what you're looking for in a completed piece right here. Now, if we wanted to get really insane with this, and this is an advanced technique, once this is dry, I would go on top of this with my oil paint, my raw umber oil paint, and I would cut that extremely down, like to a point where like we'd be looking at a tea bag that's maybe been used 5 different times to make tea. You can imagine how lightly tinted that tea would be in the cup if we had a tea bag that was used 5 times. It would almost hardly even be there. Now what the filter does is the filter goes on top of the completed piece and it softens the texture of the dry brush, because sometimes when you dry brush you have a tendency to get a little paint that's a little textured because it's so dry and you're dragging it off the brush onto a raised piece. You know, it's like it would be like taking a knife, and after you've put the peanut butter on your toast, you take the knife and you get a little bit, and you just get a little bit of peanut butter. It's kind of the same process here with this. So we could actually dump a filter on top of this, but you want to do that filter probably 2 days down the road to filter, because again, like I say, just because a paint is dry to the touch, which I kind of am. No, I'm sticky. That's sticky. That's sticky from the dry brush. So if I was to drop a filter on this, I could regenerate everything. Now I got a sloppy mess. I don't have this fine detail. So a couple days this dries, we drop a filter on top of this, but that's an advanced technique. And that's something that most folks wouldn't want to take and walk that line and do. And as long as I have this paint and this brush, and I know where I'm living here, I think I'm going to take this part next to it and do the same thing. I'm going to just try to take that up with... Yeah, it's working a little bit. You notice how fast I'm going? See, I've got some very prominent raised lines that I can enhance, and my brush is so dry that I need to be a little more aggressive with this technique. And also, watch what I do. I'm going across my raised detail that runs vertical. I'm going horizontally across my vertical raised detail, but to tie it together, I am now going to also pull down. And all I've done here is semi-softened that wash that was in there, which now really ties these together. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab a little bit more zinc. I gotta load this brush again. This time, let's see if I can do this without taking up half a Hoover Dam. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Actually, I touched it so lightly I didn't even really get enough on there. There it is. All I'm doing is I'm just kind of breaking that surface tension a little bit. Now see, again, way too much. Way too much. Get a little of this zinc. Go over to my piece. A little too much. Grab a little of that interior green. Put that in. Still a little wet. Faded drab. And into that. And that, my friends, is looking pretty good. Now to take this, I will dry the brush head because it's so much thinner in there. Remember what I said, close everything up so you don't accidental spills. And pick that up. Go over to where I can see it. That's pretty good. I think I want a little more zinc in there too. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. That's the color I'm going for right there. Good, good, good. Let's go over to this piece. Am I moving too fast, Dave?
Nope.
Okay. And here we go. And there we go. There's those lines. Really, really coming up strong. And you notice I'm kind of going across, but going at like maybe a 45-degree angle. I will pull this down a little bit. Not much. I feel like Bob Ross here doing his skies. We go vertical, then we go across, and we figure it out. That's exactly what you're doing. I'm telling you, gang, you can watch Bob Ross and learn a lot. Now, because we have an interior door opening, we want to do something a little bit differently here. And I want to get the piece off of this pallet and get the opening so it's hanging free in the air. And what I want to do now is I want to take a very strong piece of this zinc, and I'm going on to where there's thinner and pulling it out. You can see me pulling it out. You can see me pulling it out. Here we go. See that come out? See it? We go over to where we can do a little dry brush. Oh, see that? That's real good. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come back over to the piece, and we're just going to highlight. Oh, that's okay. You can see I just wiped that right off with my finger. And we can take this interior door here and just kind of give it a little highlight around the opening. That's something that you want to do. Now, because there's a little, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, because there's a little residue left there from the thinner and the washes, I can take that and blend that with my finger. Keep running that edge. Got to turn it around. Oh yeah, that's looking real good. And you can see how many times I'm passing the brush over there too. Like I keep saying to everybody, I want you to see the entire process of this. I don't want you to sit there and go, why did he get to that point? How did he go there? Which is what I've noticed in most of these model building videos that are currently available. They do a lot of steps, and all they do is leave you with questions. The average person would just have questions. And there it is. There's that completed piece. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit and get away from the painting. Now, a long time ago, in an episode I'm not sure of, we glued everything together. And the reason we glued it together is so the glue could get good and dry before we do any of our sanding. So let us take care of the wheels. Now, I'm going to see if Dave can get in good and tight in this. I'll put it up close to my shirt. And I want Dave to get in good and tight so you can see this ridge that runs through the middle of the tire.
Okay, point it a little bit more toward me.
A little more like this.
No, the other way.
This way.
Okay, now turn it toward me from there. Okay, that's it. That's what I'm looking for.
Right there.
Yeah.
And you got that line.
I've got that line.
Now, if you remember on the instructions, they told me, I'm making up numbers, they told me part 81 goes with part 82. And we found out the instructions were totally wrong. The male receptor did not fit into the females. They had 2 males partnered, 2 females partnered. So anyhow, I didn't get a really good fit in these tires, and that's why we've got this ridge. So we want to take this ridge and we want to break this ridge down, but in the tires, and I don't know if you're going to get this, Dave. I'll let you get really, really close to this. But the tires have a tread that runs, I try to say the word circumference-wise. You don't want to eliminate that when you start to sand. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a backing piece. Now this is just a piece of styrofoam from like a meat tray, you know, like what hamburger comes on or some fruits come on or whatever like that. It's just that styrofoam piece. We're going to use that as a backup on this so we can do a little sanding. Now, I've chosen 4 grits of sandpaper. This is actually a wood sandpaper, but it's way low in grit. We're down on a, well, that's kind of aggressive. I'm down into 100 medium. 100 medium. So not 100 coarse, which would be like rocks in a gravel driveway. So I'm on 100 medium, and I want to just try this first to see exactly how aggressive it's going to be on beating down this little ridge. And it may be way too aggressive. And actually, I should really be doing this under a really high intensity lamp. But again, like I say, if we use that high intensity lamp, I get all blue. And lo and behold, no, I'm not too aggressive. Now, because you are on a round surface, you want to make sure that you don't get an oval shape or flatten anything out. So just a couple of swipes. And look, and just a couple of swipes. Now here's some riveting TV. We're watching a man sand a tire. But that's okay, because like I say, in this series, I want you to see the whole process. I don't want anyone to get the impression that this is a 5-second hobby. It's just not. Modeling teaches you many, many, many things. It teaches you how to read instruction sheets. It teaches you the use of small tools and detailed tools, using sharp blades. And also, it gives you a lot of patience. If you are not a patient person, you should probably not be a model maker, as we live in our instant gratification world. But you can see, I'm just swiping this tire. I've got a really good step there. You notice I'm going to go the opposite direction on the step. See how I turn the tire? So now I'm going against where the step, you got my finger, Dave? I'm going to where the step comes and does that. It's the step. At first I was going to the step in the opposite direction. I was sanding this direction. Now with the step going this way, I want to go this direction into the step. So come on back down onto the piece with me, Dave. And we'll go this way now to beat that step down. And notice, I'm not being real aggressive in one spot. And you just keep feeling. This could take a really long time. But then again, I'm preserving the detail in the tread that runs around the tire. And I would say after a while, especially on aircraft tires, that tread that runs around it on a well-used aircraft would probably become a very smooth tire. Now, how could we tell that truly if it was something that I'm just guessing at, or that's something that I could actually check and see? How would I go about doing that, folks? What do you think? Could you look at your reference books? Could you look at the way the tires look in the reference books? Could you look at pictures of actual aircraft sitting on the ground and get some good tire shots and see what their tires look like? Of course you could. And that's where this comes in. Now, as a matter of fact, yep, now it's starting to come down, and I've still got a good round shape here, and the way I can check that is stick a little toothpick in that little hole, and yep, it's looking good. I'm not getting a flat spot anywhere. No, that's good.
Want to do that again?
Want to do that again? Sure. Sure, what I did, show them exactly what I did. There's the hole. Stuck a little toothpick in there. Picked it up. Put it right in front of my eyeballs here. And I'm rolling it to make sure I'm keeping that tire nice and round. You know, now once I get this tire nice and round, once I get this out of there, I'm going to show how you can add a little simulated weight to this tire. You're going to be like, well, what's he so concerned about keeping it round for? Well, you'll see. It'll make sense. It will make sense. And again, this is a really good thing to use. It's so flexible, you can see that it almost has taken on the shape, which is very good. This is what you want. You notice also I'm not scrubbing. I just want to beat that rim down. Oh, this is starting to come out real good. Now I think we'll start to scrub. This is, though, where things can go wrong on you, and you can create a flat spot. Now, why am I doing this at all? Well, obviously, if you look at tires, they don't have a big seam running down them. And because of the way we paint, when we enhance this tire, if I happen to have that step in there, when the wash goes in, it will really pronounce, it will, I guess that's a good word. It will really take that and pronounce the fact that there is a seam there. And that, folks, in scale models is very messy. If you were to compete like I do, and that seam was there, I, as a judge, would come up, look at your tire, go, seams in the tire, pick your piece up, move it to the side, and go on to the next piece. I find that seam on your tire or any other seams on a completed model at a contest, you're done. Done. That model is no longer considered because you did not have good basic construction. Part of basic construction is good bodywork. And you can see, I'm still on the same tire. We've probably been on this shot for what, maybe 5 minutes, Dave? 10 minutes? That's getting pretty good. Yeah, that's getting pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to go once around the whole tire. And this is kind of like that blending technique. Yeah, that's better. That's going good. That's going real good. I may be taking some of that detail that runs through the tread work and lessening it or eliminating it. But the middle of the tire, if it's a well-worn, if it's a well-used aircraft, like I said, some of those tires get real smooth. Okay, now we're going from the 100. And we're going to drop down into a lesser grit. So I'm going smoother. I have no idea. These are sanding films, and they don't tell you the grit in these sanding films. But again, I'm going to wrap this around. And I'm doing this to take out the extreme scratches that I put in with a medium 100. And this is done fairly fast. Keep rotating the tire, rotating the tire, rotating the tire. That looks pretty good. And again, around the edge. Oh! Runaway tire. Boy, sometimes, folks, in modeling world, when you drop something, it just, like there's a secret black hole on your modeling desk or something, and it just gets sucked into the vast reaches of where did it go? Okay, that's pretty good. And then for our last bit, we're going to go way down. This is 800 grit automotive sandpaper. 800 grit automotive sandpaper. And because we're in 800, well, how do you like that? Oh, this is great. Well, we're going to do it like this. I'm going to take my water bottle. I need a little water. Just going to put a little bit out here. Oh, just a drop. Because it's 800, I want my tire wet. Okay. Not much. You can see I didn't do as much. Where is my spray bottle? Oh, I know where my spray bottle is. It's over by my Wildcat crash, Dave. That's where that is.
That's all right. You don't find.
Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, and we're just going to give this an 800 automotive sandpaper just to kill any of those really minute scratches that might be in this. We don't want to actually take those scratches completely out, because as we wash and dry brush the tire, those are going to work to our advantage in the tread. But you don't want them so pronounced that they're out of scale, so it looks like, you know, a cat got on it and sharpened his claws on your tire. Oh, that's it. And that's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. I'm going to take a little water off of here. Clean up the residue from the part. Wipe it off in my rag. And do the same thing. Let's get this out of the road. Stick the toothpick in. And I'm going to do the same thing, Dave. I'm going to pick it up. Look at it right on. Oh, that's beautiful. I have got a really nice round tire and have eliminated the step. So you know what, Dave? Let's go up close against my shirt and get a good angle on this tire so they can see the two of these together. The one with the ridge, which I have not sanded out yet, and the one that I completed. Now, do I need to tilt or anything for you?
Just tilt the one on your left more toward the camera.
The one on my left, which would be the one on my right, this one?
That's good. Now turn the other one the same way.
Same way?
Okay, that's good.
I'll try to hold those as steady as I can.
No, I got them.
And you can see the difference, folks. You can see the difference. And you tell me which one is a better looking tire. That's why you need to sand your seams. You know, a lot of these people say, I sand I know to sand. Well, you know, if you don't want to sand your seams, don't. Don't. But your model is not going to be as pleasing as it could be as if you were to go in and sand out your seams. So, that's the tires. And you know what we could do also? Just for purposes that would keep my mind straighter, I am going to go and I am going to grab a reference book here and see if I can actually find Yep, here we go. Yeah. Yep. I'm more than happy with what I've done because I can look at my reference pictures.
Show me.
I'm actually on a P40, Dave. See if I can find that C47 in here. But I shall show you as soon as I can find it. But I just needed a general aircraft tire. That's not even a good book to even look in. Hello. That's the interior shots. Huh, they put one on skis. That helps me a lot. Hello, here we go. Here we go. We can take a look at this top picture right here.
Tilt it toward me. It's glaring.
Glaring.
A little more. That's good.
Got a good shot of that?
Of the tire? Yeah.
Yeah, now I want to take a real good look at that. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, you can see that tread is pretty well gone. And it also shows me that that's a natural aluminum hub in the tire, which is good to know as well. Tires, when I paint the tires, folks, I'll really take my time on this because there's a trick about going up against the hub and getting a really round hub in this. But this is where your reference material comes in and starts to help you with your build, you know? So let me put this stuff away and I will be right back. Now here is a really excellent reference shot for you. Gives you a pretty good tire. You can see that tread that runs around the tire is still there on this particular bird. It is worn down a little bit, but it's there. And plus, I can kind of surmise from the black and white picture the colors that the gear legs are going to be and that the wheel hub is going to be as well. And the other couple things I wanted to show you in this is there's a picture here I really want you folks to see. Let me get this book opened up to appropriate. Here we go. Take my little tab off. And what we're going to do is, again, Dave, you tell me when.
Which picture?
These two on the side over here. The top one and the bottom one. Any glare?
Nope.
Okay. This is a great picture of the interior and a really good picture of your instrument panel. Very, very good stuff. And this is where when you start to build historically correct and museum quality, that this type of information becomes invaluable to you as a model maker. This is the stuff that you're looking for, is things like this. So, with that said, I want to go back to that tire picture and just get a good look at that tire. Also, this is kind of interesting. Might as well show them this. They also give you all kinds of color selections and color choices that you can do this aircraft in. As a matter of fact, there's a real pretty, I'm going to show them the one in the back here, Dave, because it's so pretty. Get a picture of that bottom one. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. That would be nice to do. But I digress, which I always do. And let's get back to that picture here. Again, this one here of the tire. And let us go and let's paint this tire that we just sanded out. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop this down, put my reference so I can see it. And let's go in and do this tire. How are we doing time-wise, Dave?
7 minutes.
Okay. We might just get the hubs done, and that'll be it. All right. We know the hubs are aluminum. So, we need to get my aluminum paint. Steel. Oh, this must be aluminum. What I'm using must be the aluminum. Okay, I've already got some out. Now, one thing about a metallic is you can keep regenerating a metallic. And remember what I told you last time, folks, about metallic paints? Might not be a bad idea to just keep brushes for metallics because the metallic has a tendency to group itself within the bristles of the brush and never really get clean. But for today, I'm going to see if I can just regenerate some of this old paint, which I definitely can. You can see that crank right up on the palette again with just a little bit of thinner. This is very true of metallics. I'm keeping my toothpick in the hole here, and what I'm going to do, close up this bottle so we have no accidents. Now, you don't have to be dead nut neat on this when you paint the hub. It helps, but it's not necessary. Now, I will take this and put this down solid. See what I'm doing with the toothpick bottom? I'm putting it solid on the surface, holding this very steady. And I might have to put this at an angle, folks. You actually can't see me paint that. But you'll get the idea of, yeah, I can't do this so you can see it. There's just no way I can do this. Start with the interior and work your way out. Now what we're going to do is, here we go. And you know what, gang? I'm going to do this one actually correctly. No, the battery powered magnifier 10,000. The magnifier 3,000 here. This is a jeweler's. This is what jewelers use. And I can get really good magnification. But once I get this, you can see how close I can get to see exactly what I'm doing. Now, I don't know if you can see this filming-wise, but yep, that's what I want. This is what I want. I can really see what I'm doing. And like I say, sometimes when I detail paint, I have a tendency to get real quiet. So if you want now, you could sing yourself a song or something. And you notice I'm really taking my time here. Also, let's get a shot, Dave, before I continue with this. Let's get a shot of this brush head. You tell me when you got that. See how pointed that is? See how pointed that is? Plus, I'm keeping my paint fairly wet, so I'm keeping a lot of control. And let's go back down on the piece and continue. You can see how close I have to get to even see what I'm doing. And again, it's essential to hold this piece very steady. If you do not have steady hands, there are tricks that you can use. One of them is that inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth as you draw the brush. I can kind of do it exaggerated here, so maybe you can hear it on the microphone. I'd go, and as I start to paint, I would go very slowly. What that does is that puts your brain onto the mode of the exercise of breathing and not on what you're actually doing painting-wise. It's an old martial arts trick, believe it or not. Get inside these hubs. Boy, this is getting the pickup truck stuff, huh, Dave? Okay, beautiful. There we go. There we go. I have a very nice... Oh, boy, I got an itch. I have a very nice completed tire right there. Now we would let that dry and go in and do the other side, but let this side dry. Or, obviously, take your other tire and sand out your other tire and do one side. But you've got to let this side dry. This is essential. Also with metallics. Metallics can take a long time to dry. So when you do your tires, that's why I'm doing my tires right now. I want this aluminum paint to be dead nut dry and cured before I flip it over, just for the fact of, let's say I touched it to something, or I've done all that work and I've done it for, nothing, and you don't want to touch things up, not in metallics. Sometimes when you touch up on metallic, what will happen is the metallic will start to lump on you, and you don't want that, not in scale. We did it in real life. We'd take some sandpaper, sand it down, but you can't do that in scale. So there is your completed tire.
Okay, let me get one more shot of it.
Well, not completed tire, but that's your hub painted. Because we are going to drop washers on top of this. We drop washers on top of everything.
Looks good.
Especially on external details.
Okay.
How are we doing time-wise?
Better wrap it up.
Okay. All right. Once again, right here with the Clam Bake Man and behind my lens and me here giving you instruction, I am Bill Grigg. This is Simple Groundwork and Diorama Techniques, the Model Builders series. And once again, I hope I've taught you something. I hope you're able to follow along with me. And join me next time for episode 21 and 22. Woohoo! All right, folks, you have a good time. Keep on building your models, and I'll see you again.